Hello and welcome to a special edition of Space.com, our 2025 Retrospect, a journey through the stories, communities, risks, and innovations that shaped our understanding of the environment this year. From the streets of Lagos to the floating homes of Makoko, from wildfire-ravaged American towns to global cities lighting up for Christmas, 2025 showed us how connected the world truly is. Now today, we look back at the people, the challenges and the victories that defined our environmental landscape. And helping us to analyze this is Dr. Michael Oladiji, the Chief Executive Officer of Ruston Realtors Ltd and Chairman, LCCI Real Estate Group. Now, with nearly 2 decades of extensive cross-functional experience, he possesses a strong portfolio of transferable skills spanning housing and real estate, sales, business development, project management, media and marketing, communications, business operations and management, and information and communication technology. Dr. Oladiji is a certified Oracle 10G database administrator from Oracle University, United States of America. He is also a member of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria and currently serves as the chairman of the Real Estate Group, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI. A distinguished corporate leader, Dr. Michael Oladiji is the Chief Executive Officer of several reputable companies, including Formation Technologies Limited, Ruston Realtors Limited, and Ruston Media Company. Thank you so much for joining us today. That was a big one.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Okay, so we begin with cities in transition, the face of urban change. We began the year exploring how our cities are evolving. Lagos road rehabilitation showed us a mega city pushing to ease gridlock through reconstructed highways, smart traffic lights, and policy changes. And as the world prepared for Christmas also, we followed Lagos' festive heartbeat with the mainland lights. We didn't go to Ajose Adogo this time around, went to the mainland, Allen Roundabout and all, revealing how urban creativity transforms public spaces. We also looked at the built environment outlook of 2025, so we did that in 2024, examining architecture, infrastructure, and the future of African skylines. A 2-part dive that helps us understand where our cities are heading. So I'll ask Dr. Oladiji his first question. As our cities expand and modernize, how do we ensure that progress remains inclusive and people-centered? Not just the government trying to do something. So how are the people included in these transformations?
Okay, thank you so much for having me once again. Yeah, so you see, the main issue we have as a country is that most of the time we engage in projects or infrastructural developments. We don't carry out needs assessments. And we need to understand that projects are not, measured by the skylines or the robust infrastructures that we have or that we execute, that we develop, but how valuable they are to the people. Because at the end of the day, these infrastructures are for the people. They are not for the spirits. So before embarking on massive projects, infrastructural development, I think that there's always a need for us to ensure that there's a need assessment. Let's understand if our people truly need some of these projects, some of these infrastructural developments, and then we measure what the impact will be on the people before we can then proceed to execute this infrastructural project or development. So I think that what is more important at this point is for us to understand that the people are the ones who are going to, to actually use these infrastructures. For example, on the Ibafo highway, most of the times I drive on that highway and I see a lot of corpses on the road. You know, fine, I understand that there are flyovers, but I think there are not sufficient flyovers. And then you see people trying to cross 6-lane roads and then knocked down by fast-moving vehicles. So I think that the government needs to, you know, understand that the lives of the people, of course, the essence of government is protection of life and properties of its citizens. And so government needs to do more in that area, in that regards.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, so moving on, we look at communities on the edge. Cities are changing, but not every community gets a fair chance to change with them. So we shifted to Makoko, and the case is still on, where families living on water faced eviction pressures. Our two-part investigation captured heartbreak resilience and a reminder that modernization must never erase people, like Dr. Oladiji talked about, people-centered. So let's talk about the eviction. Cut injunction here and there, and urban growth. Urban growth is quite inevitable, but displacement shouldn't be. So what lessons can Lagos learn from Makoko's struggle? We've seen that place, we want to call it a UNESCO heritage site for Nigeria. Already the school is. Today you are leaving them to stay. Next time you're telling them to go, then you leave them to stay. And these guys they said they don't even want to be. I interviewed them. They said they don't want to be evicted. They have nowhere else to go. So these guys, even if you take them to Lekki, they don't want it. And plus our fish. How do we eat fish when they're gone?
Absolutely. Yeah, so what is more important for government to do is to first embrace dialogue, you know, rather than confrontation. You see, what the government is doing with the Makoko issue is more of confrontation. I mean, you just get to the site and you begin to displace the people. The people are the primary essence of government. And so before displacement can happen, there needs to be well engaged. And when you're also, if it's very inevitable for that displacement to happen, then there needs to be an alternative option for the people. Because the people must live. And if the people are displaced, it's a whole lot of, you know, what do I call it? It's a whole lot of risks to you and to myself, because they'll find themselves on the streets. And of course, what happened? They will engage in all sorts of criminal vices. So government needs to engage properly. Government needs to understand that when there's a need for such displacement, then there has to be a replacement where, of course, replacement in terms of resettlement. You need to move the people to where they're going to find livelihood, where they will also be able to continue to do their businesses, their daily activities. And so we see such examples in Brazil, you know, where waterfront area, the inhabitants were displaced, but the government made provision and they were able to relocate them to a more ideal location. And of course, there was no any issue. And we've seen such similar instances even in some other countries as well. So I think that, yes, there has to be a lot in terms of engagement, in terms of dialogue, in terms of collaboration with the people, rather than confrontation, you know, with the people.
Wow, well summed up beautifully. Okay, so later we confronted one of Lagos' long-standing dangers, that's the recurring infernos on Otedola Bridge, raising questions about tanker safety, engineering, and accountability. In the race towards modernization, how do we prevent vulnerable communities from being left behind or erased altogether? So, because this Lagos-Ibadan Expressway actually has people, communities. What's the protection from this incessant? Otedola is just one, but along the road they have tankers falling, sometimes burning cars that do not have business being burned, but from the probably recklessness or probably tanker fault, engine fault, there's always an accident on this Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. what more can be done?
Okay, so the root cause of that particular problem is in two folds.
Okay.
Number one, rest with the people.
Okay.
And of course, the second, rest with the government. Now, the people in terms of recklessness, in terms of indiscipline. I mean, you see people driving trailer on 80, 100, 120 kilometers. I mean, that's reckless. And then on the part of the government, lack of, enforcement of, compliance. So if there is a law that states that tanker drivers shouldn't drive beyond 60 kilometers, and that's what happens in developed countries. And then you go beyond that, speed, your license is either seized or you are fined. And then that's going to help the people to be disciplined. So I think it's more of even the people than the government. Of course, it's in both ways anyway, because if the people know they are going to be, penalized for engaging in that illicit act, of course, they won't, engage. They won't go beyond the stipulated speed. So, and that's the reason why you see a whole lot of accidents happening on that corridor.
Because there are no consequences.
Because there are no consequences. There are no checks and balances. And of course, the main issue is corruption. Because even if the people that will check, that will balance, they are the people that will take money from those guys, and once they are paid, they won't even do the needful. So everything still boils down to the general issue we have, which is the problem of corruption within the public system, most especially, as well as even in the private sector.
Thank you so much. Okay, but while Lagos faced fire, other parts of the world battled an entirely different kind of environmental threats. We reported on the US wildfires, learning how communities grapple with loss, climate extremes, and long recovery cycles. So in Myanmar, an earthquake reminded us how natural disasters can strike without warning and why emergency preparedness must be a national priority. So I bring it down to here in Nigeria, rest of the world. So we have seen that the rest of the world can even face this kind of thing. So why does the reaction come when these things happen already? Why don't we have a pre-reaction, so to speak, or pre-action? Okay, simple thing like do not load your gutter so that there won't be flooding. Yeah. Because now I'm not talking about Nigeria only, the rest of the world, it happens.
It's a global issue.
It's a global issue. Yeah. Why do we not have an action before these disasters?
Yeah, so globally, hazard, natural disaster are global issues, whether in the United States of America, whether in Brazil, Myanmar, wherever, it's a global issue. But the problem with us as a country is that we are more reactive than being proactive. And of course, what we see in the developed countries is that they are more proactive. It happens, but when it happens, there are less casualties. I mean, within 1 minute, respondents are there. You see the fire, you see the water, you see even helicopters flying. But sometimes in Nigeria, you get to call our firefighters, and what you hear is, oh, we don't have water. Even if they have water, it takes them forever to get to the scene of the disaster. So the main issue for us as a people is to develop a policy, a safety policy that stipulates, or that's designed, that provides a plan of action to ensure that there are proactive steps to take to ensure that some of these things, even if it happens, because sometimes they're natural, I mean, you can't help it. It just happens. Flood sometimes just happen. But yeah, there are man-made causes as well, and which also takes us to the issue of, ESG, environmental, social, and governance issue in businesses as even private sector. So we need to ensure that whatever we do, we build sustainability to whatever we do as a business person, and even at the government, angle. For example, we talk about recycling of waste products.
Okay, yes.
So if we have a lot of that being done, it's also going to affect the level of environmental degradation, which is also a big factor in the issue of flooding. We also talks about sensitization of the people. So when the people are well sensitized, where they are well informed, what's the National Orientation Agency doing? That should be the core of that agency. Ensure that the people are well informed as to what preliminary steps to take when there's an emergency. Because even before the respondents, the firefighters or the LASEMA, before they get to the scene, people on scene has to do something. And so what do you see these days? You see people bringing out their phones and doing video. And then, before you know, the casualty is increasing on an exponential level. So there has to be proper, orientation to the people. The people needs to know what to do. Many people, even individuals that drive cars, don't even know what to do when there's fire on that car. Though sometimes you just start shouting, calling for help. I mean, what to do is to take out your fire extinguisher and,
hoping that they have.
Yes, that's even if they have. Of course, that's also takes us back to the issue of compliance that I mentioned the other time. Because if the public officers who are supposed to do that are doing their job, then everybody should understand that this thing is even not just for you, but also to protect the lives of every other person. Because when these things happen, there's always a trickle-down effect. I mean, it's not only one car. Sometimes when car gets burnt or gets fire explosion, when there's fire on the car, it doesn't really affect the car alone. It affects other cars, other people around. So it's an issue that affects everybody, and so everyone needs to take the issue of safety seriously. So that there will be less in terms of casualties. Okay. Sometimes we can't help it. We can't just avoid it. But when it happens, the goal should be to cut down the volume of casualties.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at our impact on the earth. Environmental stewardship is not only about reacting to crisis. It's also about understanding how our daily habits shape the world around us. So we explored land pollution, its causes, and how community-driven waste management can restore the ecosystem. Our episode on the legacy of gold mining took us into the environmental costs of mineral extraction, challenging us to imagine a future of more possible mining. So let's look at pollution now. After pollution, we'll look at mining. So pollution, land pollution, we just talked about people not taking care of their drainages so that it won't be clogged. Yeah. So land pollution is just everywhere, on the streets, at the beaches, even inside the house. How do we take care of land pollution? Because that leads to diseases, health. Your health is affected. And also, let's touch mining too. How can mining be a future possible thing in Nigeria? Because it's not really being tapped well right now. It's more of the illegal thing that we see.
Absolutely. Okay, so how do we ensure that, the first question you asked.
Yes, land pollution.
Land pollution, yes. So it talks about the, attitude of the people, But I love what Lagos State is doing now. Okay. The people are more disciplined, because in those days you see people, even from the car, throwing out, dirt. You see people, urinating in the public place, or even defecating in the public place. But I think that the government have been able to do a lot in terms of inculcating that discipline within the people. Because in those days, I remember when Sky, the Kai. I mean, once you do that, they will arrest you and put you in a black maria, and then you face the court martial, you know. So, yeah, but government still needs to do more so that the people can be very conscious of their actions, which has very grave, consequence on the environment. So the culture, the attitude of the people, yes, by ensuring that you just don't dispose waste, you know, anyhow. If you have to dispose, you dispose your waste properly. And also, in those days when we were small, I remember there used to be every Saturday you have environmental
sanitation. Why
environmental
is
sanitation.
That not, we've been calling for it to come back.
And it's, you know, then it used to be very mandatory. Like
3
even
hours, just
every
7
house,
to 10.
like that's just a simple way to engage the community to ensure that the issue of land pollution is, addressed. So I think that the government needs to also bring that back into the communities. Every household, every street, every community should be involved in that practice. And of course, that would reduce drastically the issue of land pollution. You know, and of course, there might be, but even if there is pollution, if, you know, waste are improperly, you know, disposed, but once everybody comes together, maybe one Saturday in a month, and clean up, tidy up, it's going to help a lot in terms of ensuring that our environment is safer for, you know, each and every one of us. And also regarding the issue of mining. Yes, regulation for mining operation in Nigeria is not very, very impressive. It's not very robust. And of course, that's why you see a lot of illegal activities around that space. Recently, I think last year, there was an issue of, you know, a blast that happened somewhere in your state in Ibadan. Where a miner kept some dynamite within the property where he lives. And of course, perhaps there was a partial contact and the dynamite exploded and erased almost an entire, you know, estate. You know, so it was all over the news. So how could a miner in a country where we have security agencies, how could a miner take something that should be at the mining site to a residential home, to the level where, you know, that particular substance exploded and caused a lot of, you know, very tragic incidents. A lot of lives were lost. A lot of homes were razed. I mean, a lot of people haven't still recovered from that singular incident up till today. So the issue of mining is more of regulation. It's more of, you know, it's more of discipline. It's more of legislation, you know, and it's a sector that we have not fully, you know, milked. Explored, yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, we've not fully explored that industry. Maybe the focus is still on oil and gas. And the gold mine or the mining industry even presents more tremendous value and opportunity beyond the oil and gas. And so it's a clarion call for the government to, you know, focus more on that mining sector and ensure that we're able to extract more in terms of value, and then we can have that sector also contributing more to our gross domestic product.
Very important.
You know.
Thank you so much. Yes, across it all, one story kept returning: the story of change and our responsibility to guide it. 2025 taught us that cities are alive, shifting, expanding, and demanding greater care. From road networks to waterfronts, from wildfires to waste management, every story this year told us that the environment is not just out there, it is right where we live. Join us next week for part 2, where we look at creativity, innovation, humanitarian efforts, and the global stories that shaped our world. Thank you so much, Dr. Oladiji, for being here with us and expatiating on all that happened in 2025. But there's a part 2 next week, and Dr. Oladiji will be here with us also to dissect it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So for environmental commendations and concerns, follow us on Kingshot, LN247, and space.com, LN247. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. You can send us a mail, picture, or video to info2@ln247.news. Always remember that cleanliness is next to godliness. Therefore, be clean in thoughts, in words, and in deeds. Gimalo Angel, okay? Signing out.